is this morning, we're doing something that not a lot of professionals get to see. I guess it's like that Mike and Mike in the morning, those
yes.
sportscasters. Well, this is what everyone is talking about right now, where they want to live in the United States. And Sarasota, Florida is absolutely, Siesta Key is absolutely full of license plates from all over the United States. And they're getting here for jobs, aren't they, Dave?
They're coming here for jobs. Our job market is very healthy. There's amazing companies like Tropicana and PGT Windows and Sun Hydraulic, but a lot of tech companies as well. So yes, very vibrant. And of course, you already know about our wonderful beaches.
Yeah, 35 miles of ungated beaches. And I'll talk about that real quick because this week, the stuff that made it on the MLS, I'm gonna read real quick. The high sale of new construction in Manatee County was on Holmes Beach.
Wow.
Now, all of our beaches, we have general contractors who are used to building on the beach. And this home sold for $830,000. Now, that's for Holmes Beach, that's not very expensive, is it?
No, it's really not. I couldn't believe you just said that.
Well, I'm guessing if I really dig into the tax record, it may have been somebody who's owned that property for over 60 years. From Casey Key all the way up to Holmes Beach, we have quite a few fourth, fifth generation. I got here 20 years ago and found all sorts of Iowans that had been owning on Siesta Key since before the 60s.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, some of them have an Amish background, so I'm real sure they didn't get here by horse. But and I just spent the weekend with my mom and horses, and it was a great point of contact for like you and I, because when I grew up, my mom sewed my clothes, and then it just I was the third of four kids. And she always kind of dressed us alike. It was just easier to do that. I guess right. When Barb grew up, she just wore my clothes, and now we even still kind of dress alike. I guess we're in the habit. So, but the nice thing about that is that when we're talking about market economics, it was no longer viable for my mom to sew clothes because my dad had converted our gas stations to convenience stores. So now, in that conversion, we're convenient because everyone's driving their car through. We're selling them groceries and we're staying open extra hours because people, in that part of Iowa, that was where they got their milk and baby formula. And in certain parts of Iowa, we had, because I worked the cooler quite a bit, that we just kept those goods coming. And so in the economy that we're seeing right now, these are people that are coming for jobs and they're being served by this area at a very high level, aren't they, Dave?
Yeah, they really are. So the real estate market is extremely strong here in Sarasota, Manatee County, our coast where we live. And there's just so much to do. And, jobs drives everything with the economy. And I have some statistics later. We talk about mortgage in a minute. And this shows you the vibrance of the community. You talk about real numbers. And I love when you give real numbers. But 2019 as a whole, there was fundings in America, and it was $2.17 trillion of funded trillion in 2019. Well, just in the second quarter, 2020, Q2, in the mortgage industry, we funded 1.2 trillion just in one quarter, 1.2 trillion. So that's half of what we did all of 2019. So what that says is people are moving, people are buying, and people are refinancing to cash in on these low rates. And that's kind of driving things, I see.
That's a nice thing about how consumers are making good decisions based on no other influence except their personal finances, their family's ability to capture their personal finances. Of course, we saw that during the real estate bubble. You and I are right into that. And that's how Dave and I know each other, because the reciprocity of being professionals that are performing at a high integrity level, high ability to execute. We all got to know each other during that period of time because there are a whole lot of people that fell by the wayside, which is actually kind of happening right now. And there's nothing to be afraid of. But serving people and helping them move, and serving people and helping them understand how to capture that financial comfort feeling, they're analyzing, they're looking at it, and you and I are looking to educate people, but every single day we're executing on the contract itself. So we have a real live experience. We would have filmed just a little bit earlier, but you were with a client of mine. Shout out to Glennis and Mike. We will name nameless, super nice people. I would have stayed an extra half an hour at your house too, because her artwork is just spectacular, isn't it?
Right, it really is. It
right.
Really is.
Yeah. So let's all get invited back over to Glennis's house, because if we just enjoy her artwork, I'd like to start an art tour in our own neighborhood, because Sarasota and Venice is a fabulous place for artists. And Ringling University, the most wired university in the world. It's not MIT, it's Ringling. And what they provide for those students, and they just started back up, they just came back to campus or are renting in the area, being the most wired university, not just the United States and the world, has also garnered quite a bit of infrastructure that feeds off of that expertise. Movie rendering business, when they draw the cartoons, or the animation, and the animation and movie rendering business, the animation where they're making all those games. So there is a hotbed of companies that they were already working from home or working for small spaces, because that collaborative piece of putting together a whole storybook of that game that creates the story, and everyone has a lot of fun. There's a lot of artistic talent behind that, isn't there?
A lot of artistic talent. You know, you mentioned jobs, which, you know, drives our community, and a lot of these graduates are going on to Disney, other fields of expertise. So yeah, it really does drive it. And then the real estate market around the university has grown quite a bit in the last 4 or 5 years that you've seen as well, whereas students are looking to get into that housing, and that area has really gone up as well in value.
Thank goodness, because everything here is close to the water. We're in Florida. It's vertical land value. Dave and I can help you understand the value of that home on the water. If the water is slow boating water, fast boating water, kayak water, beach water, and it has value a block back, vertical, each block by block. It has to do in real estate and appraisal what it is that you're looking at. And we really hone our craft here, don't we? Because if it's a home that is no view of the water and several blocks off and no one to live there, that would be troublesome. So that area of Ringling now has students, people who want to rent, and it's viable because it's easy to get to the airport, easy to get downtown. There's services that are in there, CVS, Walmart, and just a shout out to those companies that know real estate really well, because they look at the zip code buying power of an area, and they come in and they help all the communities by serving it. So in the last, here, I'm going to read this real quick, because I'm going to expect like a little email with the numbers that you gave so I can post it in the video. There's so many numbers that we give, it's hard to keep track. And in Sarasota, in the last 7 days, now this is a good thing that we're filming on Wednesday, because we're taking into consideration the last 7 days, and we had a holiday. So we both know that coming into an all holiday and coming out of a holiday, there tend not to be closings the day before, the day after, except for all the people that were moving here. They would close on Sunday if they could, wouldn't they? They would.
And you go over the real numbers every day. I can't wait to see them this week.
Okay, so I know some of my camera equipment, I don't know if this is a good week where I have less light and you can see it without less reflection. Not that I'm teaching a class right now, know how to write this in such a way that everyone could read. But in Sarasota, in the last 7 days, we had 217 closings, 129, which were single-family homes. 12 of those new construction in Sarasota. The high new construction home that sold in the last 7 days was $174,000.
Wow.
So that's just, and this home was in an area that's right in the Sarasota County area, but it's considered Lakewood Ranch, you know, that big lake on the east side of Lakewood Ranch. That's in Sarasota County. It's a 240-acre lake.
Yeah, that's what it is. I think they call it waterside. So they're building a whole little downtown community surrounding that lake. So I saw the master plan. It's quite spectacular.
Yeah, it's boating water, not saltwater boating water, but they have skiing, jet skiing, and you can buy a home in that neighborhood with boat access to that lake. And that whole community is serving all the jobs that have moved in the last 20 years, 10 years. And we have companies coming right now with all the license plates. So that was the high sale in Sarasota County last week for new construction. So business for them as usual. The average price in Sarasota County was $283,620, up 1.23% in the last 30 days, and up 2.19% in the last year. Manatee County, which is on University Parkway North, is average price point was $291,430, up 1.48% in the last month, and up 4.55% in the last year. So Manatee County's high was last week, new construction, $830,000. They had 162 closings, of which 107 were single family homes. That's a lot of information. And I realized to make it interesting and dynamic also plays a role in all the questions that you and I are fielding throughout this process. And people are wondering, well, what about this sales price? What about that sales price? Well, it's back exactly to the jobs, isn't it, Dave?
Well, it really is. And we talked about it last week. You gave the numbers. So if I add the numbers from last week and this week, there's almost 800 to 900 sales just in Sarasota, Manatee. So that shows you the strength of the market. We talk about the bubble, and both you and I lived through it, and we're not doing the easy credit loans. So really this is natural supply and demand. It's a real market. It's healthy. It's sustainable. And the job market, you mentioned that it creates it, right? Because we have to have the ability to repay. So when you go see Sandra and start your search, now's the best time, because as Sandra just said, prices of Manatee are up 4.55%. So some people are thinking, maybe I'll wait until next year. Well, if you wait, two things could happen. The cost of money could be higher, the rate could be higher, and the price could also be higher. So you shouldn't wait. You should lock in something now so that you can live, like you mentioned earlier, dignity, pride, sense of community. We have a lot of multi-generational that you talk about, where, you know, maybe up north in Michigan, you have so many people living in one home. Well, here, you know, we can buy multiple homes, right? So it's a good time to do that right now today.
And speaking of that, Iowa is where I'm from. The nice thing about our community, the real estate system that we have in Florida, yeah, in these two counties alone, we have 14,000 plus licensees. When you go up into hills, a smidge into Hillsborough and down into Charlotte, where you and I cover. But our MLS covers almost the entire state. There's a pocket south of us in Lee County our MLS system doesn't cover. And for our area, having such a, the multiple listing service was started by, and it is a private group of realtors. We joined the Realtor Association. We say Realtor after name because we're a part of the Realtor Association. You can have your license in Florida and not have the ability to say Realtor with the registered trademark if you're not a member of the association, provided you're plugging into our ethics, our standard, and part of that standard is helping get that in. Are you gonna open the?
I gotta put the lights in.
You gotta turn the lights on. Okay, touchdown. Part of that standard is providing information that helps buyers and sellers tap into what corporations look for, because commercial property is also valued on access, ability to for people to get there for a job, and also how that area allows the infrastructure of that particular company. So if it's a trucking company, most likely they're going to be just on the other side of 75. But when you grew up there, that was out in the country.
Yep.
So for the people, and that feeds in to tractor trailer traffic.
Right.
That's a tough one to say very fast. But how America moves and how America has kept moving. And I have clients that their full time is providing tires to tractor trailers and keeping them in tires. It actually sped up through all of this, up and down 75, over to 95, across 10. So we're in an area that makes it easy for those companies to be here. The number one distribution point for fresh flowers coming in to the United States is Orlando, which is economically just around the corner, isn't it, Dave? So we have fruits, vegetable distribution, we have farming in the middle of Florida. There's a lot of things we have access to that got shut down in other areas that we're all looking at, like, why did that happen? You didn't have to shut down because America kept eating and needed food. Our farmers went into kind of triple overtime because it's almost farm to market here. Our fresh fruit and our vegetables are right from the center of the state. Blueberries are in season. They're just coming from a little bit north. And those tractor trailer drivers and companies are keeping our economy moving while all the other things are happening right now, aren't they?
Well, they are. And even Manatee County, we have one of the largest ports also. So there's a lot of ships coming into Manatee County, and that's a lot of industry. Manatee Fruit Company, who's been around since the early 1900s, they're here delivering fresh flowers and fruits as well. So there's so many different things that we have. You mentioned all the licensees, and big shout out to Sandra. She is not like the average realtor who's an order taker. She has a financial background. She came from hard work in Iowa, where her family owned gas stations, converted them to convenience stores. So she goes the extra mile. She's truly the concierge that keeps everything going. Contractors, lenders, home inspectors. So what she does is she guides you very seamlessly through the transition and the process. And she's connected with all these employers that she talks about. So when you're moving here and you're unsure where you're going to get your paycheck from, she can help you with that. So you never talk about those things, but it shines through your videos. And when you have a professional and a team, it just makes the process that much easier. That's what I would say.
Well, thank you, Dave. And we can't help but be connected because we don't get to be personal friends with everyone. We're friendly, but we build an infrastructure of people who like our reciprocity. They're performing in their business at a very high level, and they become people who send us business. And we also have folks out there that are really happy that we did a great job, and they're telling all their friends about us. And that is what feeds our business by referral. And we don't badmouth anyone, but it just comes with life here on this earth, keeping track of what helps people move to that point they want to be, doesn't it?
Well, it does, and the professionalism shines through, and the real numbers. People need to make decisions based on facts, right? Sales is an emotional thing, and as salespeople, we sell on emotion, but really what we do is the real numbers is fact. This is the interest rate, this is the community, this is the depreciation. So we always lay out a plan for you, the consumer, so that you can make a good buy. And it doesn't matter whether it's your first home, right? Sandra and I can help, or if you're moving here as a second home, or if you're looking to do investment property. So it's a little bit of all three. And then, of course, the commercial aspect is there as well.
And that's how you met Glennis and Mike. They saw you on the video. They were shopping online. And once they interviewed you and several other people, a whole different experience, because we provide connectivity through our marketing, but the personal attention to helping listen to everything that matters to someone is how Glennis and Mike, you were like top one, and there was not even a close second as far as their interface was. And I'm finding that to be true as a professional. Let's give your telephone number so people can get a hold of you.
Best number is 941-724-7653, 941-724-7653.
Thank you, Dave, and I appreciate your time this morning because you were doing business early this morning. You got here, you're filming, and I appreciate this little snippet of time, and I appreciate you. Have a great morning.
You too, Sandra.
We'll talk to you soon.
So much for
Take
everything.
care.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye, Dave. Thank you.
Bye.
Good job. Okay.